I'm in Max. You are listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Season 24, Episode 12 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name's Kimmy.
And I'm Tappy.
And you can tell by our voices that this is take two.
Or three. You don't know.
You don't know. Well, maybe you do.
This episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast is sponsored by EasyRollerDice.com.
Woohoo! They're the best.
They are the best, and they have a brand new Dice of Giants Kickstarter that is live right now.
Nice.
Oh, man, it's like those giant balls that you have in CrossFit.
No.
Oh, like the bouncy ones?
No,
Oh.
like the ones that are stone. Is that what it's like?
They're not stone.
I don't know if they're that big. Well, let's see. These things are huge. 48 millimeter. I don't know what that is in American. What is that in American? That's like 8 feet?
48 millimeters?
I don't
No.
know. All right.
Yeah, no. There's about.
Oh, that is a big die.
Yeah, it's a very big dice.
That's about 1/5 of an inch? Is that about
No.
That's more than
Yeah.
that, I think.
So there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter,
Right.
which is about half an inch.
Oh, yeah, so that's
So it's almost
10. No, yeah, that's like 2 inches.
Yeah, it's like wow.
a big dice.
And that's the D20, a 48 millimeter D20, and it has with some wicked designs and features, hand drawn and features a hand drawn font. You can go to EasyRollerDice.com/giants, and that will take you to the Kickstarter. EasyRollerDice.com/giants, and you can also see the entire set of 6 and secure yours now.
Yeah.
The dice include stone giants, fire giants, hill giants, storm giants, and frost giants.
Ooh, that's cool.
Probably different colors. I'm going to imagine different colors.
Yeah.
And cloud giants.
Ooh, nice.
So those are even bigger.
Yeah.
No, they're probably the same size.
Yeah.
But those would probably be like white and fluffy. I don't know.
No,
I'll go
that's
look.
not what
I'm going
it
to go look
is.
right now.
It's not fluffy.
Again, go to EasyRollerDice.com/giants to see them and get yours today. Well, you won't get them today, but secure yours today. And we would like to thank EasyRollerDice.com for their support of the show and their patience.
Oh, yeah, no, they're very cool.
They are. They're awesome.
And I mean the dice. But also, yes, they're amazing company. But the dice are really cool. They've got this like custom font. If you saw the dragon dice they had before, they had like custom dragon.
The
font.
ones I had to hide because
so
everyone tried
cool.
to steal them.
Yes, we like those very much. We gave them away in a giveaway, but they were amazing. But they've got very cool. They look like twice or 3 times the size of a normal D20, and they also have this very cool.
They
font
look like
on
a
there.
shooter.
Oh, holy
Yeah.
metric. There's a
Like-
picture, a regular
Yeah.
dice compared to the...
Yeah, they're
that's
really
a big
nice.
die.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to have a system where you have a bunch of D20s and you have one of those, and the ones that you hit,
Like you're playing marbles?
you get the numbers of those. You get like a choice between them or something.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
you have to add them. No, add them together would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like,
These are like the perfect dice for streaming too, because they show up on the camera really well because they're really big.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And they do have a nice font. Which one is that? It's blue. Let me see if they show the different colors.
Yeah,
Okay, the Fire Giant is red and black with gold lettering
I
on
really
it.
like that one.
The Stone Giant one, this might be my favorite.
It looks like
Almost looks like it's like obsidian or black, but it's like the edges are like worn.
Yeah.
And it's got like really dark for the numbers.
yeah.
And what's this one? The Storm Giant one. That's sort of like a marbled blue with white lettering.
I think I like that one too.
I think the black one is the one that I want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That one's
like
pretty
my soul.
sweet.
That's the
It's
stone
fucking
giant
rad.
one.
That's the Stone Giant one.
Yeah,
That one's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me
Stone
see-
giants are goth. We know that.
Right.
Yeah.
The Cloud Giant one is blue and white with black lettering.
Yeah.
And then the Hill Giant one is green with white lettering.
They're all very
And the
cool.
Frost Giant one, that does kind of look like ice. It's like different shades of blue, kind of like different marbled shades of blue.
Yeah, I like
with,
that
with
one.
white lettering.
That's very cool.
And they got D6s. Oh yeah.
Thank goodness, because I wasn't gonna.
God, the thing
I'd
is
have to
huge.
play
There's
D20
there's one in
system.
some dude's hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
really
a big
big.
die. That's
Yeah.
a really big
It's,
die.
it's also self-defense weapon.
Yeah.
Yes.
They better not come in metal or else.
Oof.
Oof.
Yeah, you have to have a license for that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Thank you very much, EasyRollerDice.com. And if you want to support the show, support the sponsors. EasyRollerDice.com/giants.
Yes.
And you can get your set
And if you'd like to sponsor the show, contact us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com.
Yes. In this episode, Andreas writes in about tactical options for theater of the mind gaming, a topic I do not think we've ever covered.
Wow.
Jonas writes in about D&D and new players. It's probably the last of the D&D class kerfuffle that we'll have. And then Eric from New Jersey writes in about a stupid idea that won't leave him alone.
Am I muted still? I'm quiet. I'm very quiet.
No, you're not muted.
My mic is on. Everything.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Are they saying you're quiet?
They're saying I'm quiet.
Well, there, I'll turn
You
you up a little
have
bit.
to hear me. I'm important.
I think that's the first time
levels are
anyone's
right.
ever said
Ever?
that.
Ever anybody said that I'm quiet? Is this accurate?
No, the levels are good.
Okay.
But first, if you'd like to email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We're on social meteors. We have a forum, happyjacksforum.com.
Yes.
Go see my Call of Cthulhu
Posted it.
initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call
It
that.
was good. People
Yes.
are like very interested in that.
They did a good job.
Yeah.
And not just I mean, they've tweaked the rules a lot. I mean, we were talking outside. We were talking about one of the things that happens if you fail a sanity roll and you lose a certain amount of sanity is you immediately have a bout of insanity. And if your character is alone with whatever caused the insanity, they suggest that you just fast forward to the point where the person collects their thoughts or collects their shit, or when the rest of the party discovers them, and then just simply describe to them the aftermath of what happened while they were during their bout of madness.
Wow.
Because if there was no one else there to see it, they're not going to remember what it was.
Yes.
So it's a really cool way to say, oh yeah, you lost your shit, and
That's interesting.
you're now sitting with your back to a corner holding a fireplace poker, and there's a bunch of blood on it. It's not yours.
Oh.
Who knows where it came from?
Nice.
Right.
Okay.
And there's bloody footprints going over to the fireplace. Anyway, you killed Santa.
No.
No, he just killed the blood tree.
Yeah.
All right. Also, our social meteors.
Yes.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and MeWe. Happy Jacks RPG, all one word, all lowercase. Happy Jacks RPG. Watch us live Friday nights at 7 p.m.-ish, 7:20-ish today.
Usually, yeah.
Pacific time, happyjacks.org/live. And you can watch the show and join us in the chat room. Hi, chat room. It's nice to see all of you there. And they're making fun of me from take one.
No, they're saying that the patriarchy is keeping the only lady on the podcast down, man.
Is that why?
It's the mic patriarchy.
I could turn the compression up. How's that? Is that better?
I don't know. Probably not.
How about this? Go.
I'm afraid. Hello? Okay, that's
Maybe
fine.
your channel's burnt. Oh, I'm on the wrong channel. Hold on. now talk.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, that's much better.
Okay. And I can put you a lot of compression on you there.
That's nice. Thank you. I like
Can't really,
compression.
compression's not really doing much
No.
today.
No.
It's kind of shitty. Well,
So
That's fine.
you remind me, I should put all of my extra rules that I've made for my game on the
Yeah, you should.
forum.
oh yeah.
So
It's-
when I remember to do that.
Yeah, it's like hopping, and it's very mobile friendly now, which is
Yes.
the best thing. And emails.
Oh, yeah, like I said, email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We've had a rush of them this week, but it's been thin. So if there's a topic you want us to discuss, or there's advice you have, or something you want to complain about, or
stories.
a horror story
Or
about,
a success story.
or a success story.
Or both.
Or both.
I like horror stories, but Schadenfreude is my friend. But yeah, send it happyjacksrpg@gmail.com.
Yeah. We also have coming up JackerCon, which is our fan-run online convention, which is coming up the week of June 23rd.
JackerCon! Yeah!
Yeah, that's not the best song you've written, but that's good.
Well, that's just you want to hear
first.
the other?
No.
JackerCon! Yeah! See that?
That's better.
That's going to put like a ninth on
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Makes it kind of jazzy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's JackerCon, yeah.
But you can sign up at
JackerCon.
jackercon.com.
.com.
And you can run games. You can sign up and play in games. A bunch of the hosts are going to be running and playing in games. So do the thing. Check it out.
I think JackerCon needs a theme with a banjo, like a song. If there's going to be a JackerCon
Yeah, that's your
song,
choice. Yeah.
I think it has to have banjo in it.
Yeah, that seems like a legit thing.
I think so.
Absolutely.
So
especially
anyway-
if like the guy from Rathacon is like it's from his perspective about role playing.
Right.
Because what else the fuck there is to do?
It's true.
Right. All right. First email. Tactical options for TOTM gaming, which is an acronym that I have never seen before.
Me neither.
TOTM. Theater of the Mind. I coined that.
I've heard of Mind's Eye Theater, but that is completely different.
Yes.
Yeah.
But theater of the mind is a phrase that's been around a very long time.
Right.
But I don't think anyone's. I think I'm the first person to turn it into TOTM.
Taught him.
We'll put that on your tombstone.
I'm just going to say yes.
All the
Phrases coined. TOTM.
things. Taught him.
One, and then there's like a whole bunch of numbers after that, and nothing. You just didn't get. You ordered the gravestone, but you never got around to it.
Right. Hi there. I remember you talked about map-less gaming a while back. In that episode, Stu mentioned that without a map, there were only 2 tactical options available, namely concentration of force and resource management. I can see how that might be true, but I wonder about an option to add in the spatial factor of map-based combat without the map. Let's say we don't keep track of where everyone is on what square and how far from each other, but instead only who is engaged and who is not. That would be easy enough to keep track of without a map. That's true, and would give still give a tactical nuance. Let's say you can only cast spells when you are not engaged, only use ranged weapons when you are not engaged, and with reach weapons you only get 1 strike first round when someone moves to engage you. Reversely or inversely, weapons without reach are useless unless you move in to engage. Add a very sparse sprinkling of attacks of opportunity and dodge to disengage for flavor. What say you? Useful tactical addition to a mapless game, or too much to bother with unless you go full hog? Would be interested in hearing your thoughts on the matter. Cheers. Drink, Andreas.
Woohoo.
Well, kind of already do that in all the games that don't use a map. Like, I mean, when you have combat in mapless games, which are, most game, like if you don't have that board game part of it, and it sounds like you're looking at it through the like idea of like a board game, so everybody is in that place and nobody's cheating, kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, L5R, if you have a bow and somebody's in your face with something, you can't really use that.
Right.
Or at least, I mean, I can't talk for 5th edition, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like, there are reach weapon rules. Like, in some games you get more
Right.
initiative. Yeah, I mean, all of these are put into many, many games that I know of in one way or the other.
Yeah, Erica in the chat room, Erica Odd says Fudge and Fate use something similar with zones, which is accurate.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's Among Us Traveler First Edition had something like that, because it had like range bands for doing combat.
Wild Talents has, like, the powers have different things on them, but there's not necessarily like a written in thing like zones or engaged, not engaged.
Right.
A lot of that, I mean, I like the terminology with that, like having those terms. I think that clarifies it up for the players.
Does 5th edition use the engagement rules like that? Where, like, if you try to move out of a melee...
Yeah, you can use a disengagement, like, action to
Okay.
move without having, like, an
Because I remember
attack of
4th edition
opportunity.
had that. If you moved out of close combat with someone, they got an opportunity attack.
Yeah.
Does that still exist in 5th?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
But here's one of the things about, like, theater of the mind is you don't have to have robotic kind of reaction to those things. Where it's like, if you move, there is an attack.
Yeah.
Right.
You can do things like, all right, you can try and get away, but something bad might happen. And maybe it's an attack of opportunity. Maybe, like, you drop something because you're trying to get away too quickly. Whatever it is that you have. Like, it seems very, like, sort of rigid and binary in this place.
Right.
Like, in Apocalypse World, you don't really have that concept of like if you leave, you get hit. But if you try and get out of where you are, like say you're
That's
in
still a
hand-to-hand combat,
move.
Yeah.
that's a
Right.
move. It's like, okay, well, act under fire. If you fuck it up, something bad might happen, including getting chopped in the back.
Right.
And you also have like intimate range weapons, which is you got to be really fucking close. Like hand range, which is like a couple feet further than your outstretched hand, and then close, and then far.
Right.
So, I mean, they work.
Right.
These concepts.
Yeah, I kind of, when I was first read this email, when we first got it, I kind of started thinking about when I run theater of the mind combat, it ends up not being that. Because at some point, the complexity of the situation and people's mental picture of what's going on start veering off from each other.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen. And I end up having to scribble out a map anyway. Or at least
I just go fog of war.
Right.
I mean, I still think that's theater of the mind, though, because you're still not using a map. You're still not measuring out. Well, yeah, but I mean, but the actual, like, to get everyone on the same page is where things are.
Right.
But you're not using a map. You're not like, oh, you have to move 3 squares to be able to cast that spell. You're like you're still that's keeping everyone's mind in the same theater. Yeah. But it's still theater of the mind.
Yeah, I don't do that because first of all, I've lost where my pencil and paper are.
But I've noticed,
secondly, like I do a lot of online gaming
Right.
with
Yeah.
people, and that one you don't have that choice. You pretty much have to describe it or
Yeah.
like come to an understanding where it's
Right.
like you as the GM have to just keep it all together.
Describe,
Right.
Yeah.
See, to me, the weakness of doing it, like doing a theater of the mind combat, is a lot of times you forget about, like, if you have a game that has rules for like dive for cover and things like that, but you have to have cover within a certain distance. A lot of that stuff ends up getting forgotten.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I mean?
I also find that I can't. I mean, maybe I'm not as up in as many systems as the two of you, but I can't think of any theater of the mind systems that have specific things like that, where you have to have it in a certain range.
Well, no, I mean, if a game is specifically written for theater of the mind, it's probably not going to have a dive for cover option, although it might. I mean, Mongoose Traveler has it. I think Mongoose Traveler has a dive for cover.
Yeah, I mean, if
And
guns
that's-
are sufficiently dangerous and a gun is being pointed at somebody, most players will say, "Hey, can I get the fuck out of the way?"
Right.
But not like what he said, where it's like you have to be 5 feet away. Like there's not usually that caveat of measurement. It's
Well,
just-
yeah, I mean,
But whatever makes sense. Like if you're if you close enough to wall to fucking make a leaping dive for it, then you can do it.
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like the 5-foot things and all the stuff that happens in games where you play the board game feels very rigid, but also it's easier to go within those confines.
Yes.
And it really is just like how fast and loose you want to play your combat.
Right.
I like scary combat that goes fast. We can get back to role playing. But tactical combat's also fun for a lot of people. So it's like,
Yeah, I think.
I agree though that rules get forgotten in like most role playing games.
Right.
Period.
I mean, and if you were trying, I mean, if you were playing a controller type character in DnD, and it was theater of the mind, that could get super frustrating.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, well that wouldn't be a character type you
could
have.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't do that because that wouldn't be useful.
No.
Or if you just like completely kind of hand wove like the exact measurements of stuff. Like, I mean, you could probably do it if everyone was really willing to just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how games work in Apocalypse World.
Yeah.
Like, you got like 15 guys or so, and if the gang takes like 2 harm, then some of them are fucked up. A couple of them might be dead.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's way different than, okay, if you take 2 damage, then you need to roll 2 dice, and those together divided by 2 is how many people are dead, and divided by 2 is not at all well.
Right.
I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why D&D combat tends to take so long, because you do have to kind of sort through all those rules.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know, at least for me, I'm willing to pay the price of maybe doing some rules a little wrong, or to not use all the rules if they slow things down, if people are like engaged and going quickly.
Right.
If they're not like going over the checklist of, these are all my abilities, have I maxed out everything that will, make me the most effective?
Or also, it's attrition style combat. And so that is very different than other style. When it's attrition, you're just going to hit more and be hit more. It's safer. That style of combat is safer because you can get hit 3 or 4 times or however many times, depending on your level, or 12. So you're more likely to get into combat, and combat is more fun because you don't get hit once and suddenly, like...
The stakes aren't as high.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it also means it takes longer.
Yeah.
So, I mean... for the most part, like, Theater of the Mind, as opposed to the board game... I hate calling it Theater of the Mind. Can we call it something else?
No, that's what it's called.
I came up with the acronym. For
Yeah, it's going to be on his tombstone. Come on. We have to make it a thing now.
Coined term
Totem.
number 1.
Totem.
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 Thought him, damn near killed him.
We ain't changing it now.
Shop,
Dahlia.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much fun you find combat, how often you want to be in combat.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if the less deadly combat is, the more different stuff you can be in and the more time you can put towards it.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Yeah, we had a big combat in my Wild Talents game this week. Yeah, and I think I just love Theater of the Mind. It's so much easier. I like painting minis, but I don't really like using them in games. And just the flexibility and kind of, I like how everyone can kind of imagine it their own way.
Right.
And I think, kind of going back to the email, engaged. Someone was talking in the chat room that 7th Sea, I think it was, that also uses very similar, or 13th Age, sorry. 13th Age uses engaged, not engaged, and far away as its ranges, which I think are good. Like, I mean, that's like, I tend to generally do that, although I haven't used like engaged as like the term. I might start doing that. Like, it's basically like touching distance, then not touching distance, and then you're far away. I like those. It's very, very my style. But
Hugging range, punching range, stabbing range, shooting range.
There you go. Perfect.
see, I like the 2 different types of shooting range of, far away that you could probably kind of hit somebody, but you can still like see their face.
Right.
As opposed to so far away that you can't really see their face unless you're looking through like binoculars.
The sniper range, yeah.
Or like, I don't know, like 100 meters, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I mean, relatively close for a rifle, but not for a pistol.
No.
Yeah. But I think answering the question, yeah, it's a tactical addition to a mapless game, and yeah, it's not too much to bother with. I think it clarifies things.
Sure.
Especially if the game doesn't already have something like that built in, then yeah.
I mean, I don't run map games, and so like this is stuff that is really useful if you want something different. If swords are all the same as spears, things get boring real quick.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, you got to put things in differently.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I agree. All right. Thank you very much there, Andreas.
Yes.
D&D good for beginners? Bah! Says Jonas. I actually paraphrased.
That was very loud.
But who would like to read D&D good for beginners? Bah! Says Jonas.
I will read this one, I suppose. Oh, it's long. Oh, man. Okay.
Salt.
Dear Happy Jacks, Jonas from Sweden here. The real country next to fake Finland. If possible, I want this letter to be read by Tappy in an outrageous Swedish accent or by Abria in a really polished and fancy accent.
All right. I guess Tappy's reading it now.
Do I have to do it like Jorgi Jorgensen?
However...
No, I shouldn't. God.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're not going to make him at least try?
I was waiting for it. The next one's long, too, so I think...
Like, I realize we have a very lopsided relationship.
Okay, that sounds Welsh to me.
It is. It's very Welsh.
That's like...
It's all I have.
All right, Tappy failed. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I realize we have a very lopsided relationship. I've written several letters through the years, but you never write back to me. Every day, me and my ever-shrinking self-esteem check our mailbox for a question from you.
That's in quotation, self-esteem.
Self-esteem. And is Stu finally ready to ask about my opinions about AC? Will Dave seek the answer on how to keep proper time in High Gygaxian?
Oh, guess what I got?
What?
I got my copy of Role Playing Mastery by E. Gary Gygax.
Wow.
I used to have a copy of that, and I read it. I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever read in my life. And I lost it when I moved out of La Mirada, but I found a copy in a used bookstore, and I got it. So we'll start having weekly readings.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I'm very excited
Are there
about
like
this.
scenarios that we could like act out?
It's more preachy than that. It's about how to master role-playing games. And it happens in phases. You start out as a player, and then you eventually start to GM, and then you eventually have to get to the point where you're creating your own scenarios rather than using pre-written scenarios. Then you have to design your own game. It's like a progression of things.
Didn't you do that?
I have done all of those things. I am now a master.
Well,
I don't know if I'm, because I don't remember. It's been a long time since I read it, and I haven't started reading it yet.
I can't wait.
I don't remember. There might be more steps.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Will Dave seek how to keep proper time in High Gygaxian? When will Kimmy inquire about my...
It should read, will Dave seek the answer on how time is to be kept?
Okay.
Because you got to use passive voice.
That's nice. Okay.
Passive voice. And I Gygaxian. The passive voice must always be used.
That's terrible. When will Kimmy inquire about my semantic definition of the sandbox? But I understand. I'm neither famous nor have my own podcast.
Me neither.
We're not famous. I have only myself to blame and will try and do better. Luckily, I have a rant and a question to fill the time until I've reached the stardom needed for mutual correspondence. When discussing D&D in classes, like in episode 24-8, you and or your listeners always bring up that D&D classes are good for beginners, which is fitting because Dungeons & Dragons often is the first game new players try out. Am I playing a different Dungeons & Dragons than everybody else? In my eyes, D&D is unintuitive, complex, and held hostage to a long tradition of design history.
Yes, this is true.
I get nervous when I have a brand new player who wants to try a wizard in Dungeons and Dragons. Marriage. And need to explain the difference between spells know, spells memorized, and spell slots, and how these concepts change for every kind of magic user. Melee characters aren't any better. Does my character know how to use an axe? Does my sheet explain that? No. It says that I have proficiency in standard weapons. Is an axe a standard, martial, or superior weapon? But the proficiency system is much easier for new players than the skill system, say the fans of the coast. You don't want to give the snowflakes headaches by inducing them with something as complex as a skill system.
It has skills, though.
Oh, wait, okay. Then, why do you have a list of 18 skills right above the proficiency box, D&D?
Okay.
Not even GURPS.
Yeah!
Not even GURPS have different rules for innate knowledge and capability to use physical crap like thieves' tools. Mm-hmm. I love you, D&D, but don't come totally plastered to my house in the middle of the night and say that you're easy for noobs. Easy and rigid isn't the same thing. Okay, rant over. You can pause here to discuss before moving on to the question of this letter. I like how they write in pauses for us to talk about things. That's considerate. I appreciate that.
You can also put in between paragraphs, pause for Tappy to say something.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just every paragraph.
Yeah.
Do we have to?
No. And, well, I mean, I don't think it's the easiest game to learn.
No.
And a good beginning game would be a game that's really easy to learn.
It is the one that has the most resources out there, though.
Maybe. I mean, Wizards of the Coast is not publishing a lot of stuff for 5th edition. It's all third party now.
No, but if you go online, you're going to find a bazillion articles and places.
That's
and
true.
if you're what's the difference between proficiency and skill? Like,
Right.
you're going to find 500 articles explaining that.
But you only need one. I mean,
Right.
And for all
Yes.
games,
It's all
people
in the
have
rule book.
and you have the ability. Like was trying to like figure out the Fantasy Flight games, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
And all the rules are spread out between like 40 different
Yes,
books.
it
Yeah.
Like,
is.
and so it's like, oh, is there an index? Oh, hey, look, there's an index.
Oh.
There's an index online that somebody put together with all of the skills together and all
Because
the
it's
that's
in
stuff.
that
awesome.
book.
Yeah. And then
Right.
you're like, oh, how do you do this? And I just write, how do you use force powers?
Yeah.
And then that question comes up somewhere and somebody explains it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
the internet, you don't need to have something be like huge and have a ton of people write articles for it for the
For the
information to be
useful
available.
stuff. Yeah,
Right.
that's true. I think. I personally think a better beginner game would be like Savage Worlds.
Yeah. I think Savage Worlds is a really good beginner game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very intuitive. The rulebook's small. Most
It's
of the rules
cheap.
are used for a lot of things. It's cheap.
You can go buy it for $10.
And you still have like the board game part so that you can keep everything like
Yep.
under control. It's not, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only difficult part about that for new players, I think, would be like, for your powers, like, how does your power manifest? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's telepathy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's a damaging power. It's damaging telepathy. I don't fucking
Right.
know.
Yeah. Squeeze their brain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that comes to mind for that system on what
Right.
would be bad about it.
Yeah. I think classes are good for beginners. I don't necessarily know if D&D classes are the best for beginners.
That's because you're a teacher. You love classes.
I do. Classes are the best. Well, okay, I like keeping things in a very set type and wheelhouse is something that is good for people learning things. Like,
Right.
I
I
mean,
can see
there,
that. I can see that.
that's not like there are some people who don't like that, and that's. But for the most people, when they're learning something, they'd rather have a small I always think of, because I love the movie and it's terrible, and his beautiful horses, Zorro.
And I, when the full moon is bright. That one?
Not Zorro the Gay Blade?
Comes a horse
No, not that one.
2 bits, 4 bits, 6
No.
bits a peso.
The actual-
Oh, for
yeah.
Zorro, stand up and say so. I love that movie.
Yes, but
Let me wiggle. Sorry.
it's fine. Never mind. I'm moving
No,
away
go.
from Zorro. But people like to have to learn a small part of something, get good at it, and then have things.
I can totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, that's how I learn when I buy a new role-playing game. The first thing I do is I make characters.
Yeah.
So I see, this is how character creation works. Then I take 2 of those characters and I have them fight each other.
That is exactly what I do.
Yeah.
100%.
You
That
just
is the easiest way to learn.
Learn
system.
in little increments and then expand out. Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's
So I think having classes and not specifically D&D classes, but any type of class or playbook or whatever you want to call it,
right.
is helpful for beginners.
I could see that because what's it called? Structure hunger.
Yes,
Like it's like
absolutely.
here's the GURPS book. Make a character.
I have never suffered from something called structure hunger.
No.
And while I won't argue with Kimmy about pedagogy and teaching, because she is much more of an expert in it than I am, all I can say is for me, if I'm making characters, I'm going over the entire system. I'm
Yeah.
going over all the different
Right.
things you can do. It's actually more difficult for me to get or more time consuming when you have all these different classes, because they all play differently. They all
Oh,
have
yeah.
different rules. So now I got to make a character in each one of those instead of make 2.
Right.
You know?
I can see that. Yeah.
And so I can bump numbers around and say, oh, so this is how you be a really good pilot, but you also have to have these attributes, but you also want these things to make sure that if something goes wrong while you're flying, or that you have good knowledge of where airports are. I don't fucking know.
What did you do? What did you do for your curious? What did you do for your very first role playing game? Do you remember?
My very first role-playing game was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and I was told to make a 3rd level character, and I made a ranger. And I'm like, okay, what do I do with a ranger? It's like, okay, well, it's like Aragorn. I'm like, okay, well, what if I'm Aragorn with a hawk?
No, yeah, I guess.
And I'm like, okay.
No, I guess I'm more asking.
And then I died.
Oh,
That's what happened in
Then I moved on to
Advanced.
Palladium.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I played AD&D.
But-
the next time I played D&D was 4th edition.
But did you break down the rule book that same way as a beginner, like the way you're describing now?
I knew fucking everything about all the books that I had. So, like,
Interesting.
you know, as a kid, I fucking read everything I could get my hands on. And role-playing games, you know, create stories in your head while you're going through it. So, yeah, hell yeah, I read everything I could get my hands on for AD&D, and then fucking was pissed.
Yeah,
Right.
I was more like wondering if you were building characters, like if that was something that you just kind of innately did that first time, or
Oh
if
yeah,
that's
no, I
something
made
that's
a
developed
fuck
since
ton
then.
of characters.
Yeah.
I just thought that
That's
that
cool.
would be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
And also, most people didn't have like ranged weapons, so it was like, oh, yeah, I'm like a bow.
Yeah.
Awesome, I got a hawk, so I can like sick them, and then while it goes for the eyes, I can like shoot him in the knee, and then I died.
Right.
Okay.
You got killed by a skeleton or
Yeah.
a rat.
Yeah. It's okay. There was an army of lizardmen that were coming, and that's when one of the other characters found a crossbow with a glowing bolt, and he fired it, and it killed all of the lizardmen in a mushroom cloud.
I remember you telling that.
Yeah.
that tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time I played D&D until we played that one game.
Until 4th edition.
So it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Classes may help people. I can totally understand that, but for me, I don't know. I like mix and matching more.
Right. All right. Continuing, you often talk.
You often talk about that GMs should only plan problems, not solutions. I don't know what Dark Void Sue stares into to prevent ideas from entering his head, but solutions pop into my poor battered skull the second after I've thought out problematic situations to throw at my players. Let me give you an example.
You have to hang weights from your scrotum, and that frees your concentration so you will only think about problems and not solutions. Takes a great deal of mental discipline. Have you seen the Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yeah.
Have you seen there are people who like hang weights from like their penis and swing it back and forth in order to get virility?
No, I have
Yeah,
not
you
seen
can try that for
One of
your
my
own-
groups is playing Mutant Year Zero, and I plan to let them encounter
That is-
Psi mutants.
That is not the worst thing I've said on this show.
No, it's not. I wasn't. I was just done talking about your
I
scripts.
said penis instead of dick.
It's fine. You
Fuck.
can say dick and fuck and all of that. I don't care. That's not a conversation I'm interested in having with either of you.
One of my groups is playing mutant.
Yeah, I read that already.
Oh, but he was talking. I didn't hear you.
Okay. One of my groups is playing Mutant Year Zero, and I plan to let them encounter Psi mutants, scary buggers with mind control powers. One of the PCs has a mutation called Double Brain, which is what it sounds like. She has two brains shoved into a nowadays rather lumpy head. This mutation is.
I would keep one in a backpack.
I don't know if that's how that works. This mutation is mostly used to let the PC multitask by giving the brains responsibility of two different tasks. But I thought it could also work as a defense mechanism against mind control. A Psi mutant using his powers against you to switch back and forth between your brains, and he can't keep control. Was it wrong of me to think this out in advance? I understand that I shouldn't block the players if they get another idea, like wrapping their heads in tinfoil. And considering my own the only right one. Crap, another emptive idea. I can't stop myself. But how should I behave in relation to my prepared solution when the players actually meet the Psi mutants? Keep my mouth shut and not inhibit their own creativity, or dump clues in the double-brained PC that has advantage in the situation. As always, thanks for a fantastic podcast. With regards, Jonas Larson, proud owner of GURPS The Prisoner.
Yes,
Oh,
very good
fuck
book.
Yeah.
Thinking of stuff is fine. I mean, if you can come up with whatever the problem is, you're going to have Psi guys attack these people, whatever. And you think, oh, well, and if they think of it, Bobby Two Brains can have a
On account of her two brains.
on account of her two brains. Like John Two Sheds. But it might have an advantage. That's fine. But once you say that in your head, the chances of the players coming up with that solution are very slim. I mean, they might, but I wouldn't count on it. And you're already it's already kind of affecting your thinking, because you said right there that what sounds to me like the only right one.
Right.
And then right there, that's why you don't try to come up with solutions.
And also, you can do things like can mind control other people, and then like whatever solution they come up with, well, then you mind control somebody else. And when it gets to this character, it's like, one of your brains is being mind controlled, and they might go, oh shit, and figure this out, or they might go, oh shit, and not.
Right.
And they may just figure that she has just more mental strength as opposed to an ability to like switch back and forth. Well, which is a cool thing to think about, but I mean,
it also brings up the question of which brain decides when it's going to switch. And if one brain doesn't want to switch and the other one does,
right,
then if the one is mind controlled and if the person who's using the psionics knows, oh, this is a switchy brain, I'm going to hold on to the switch. I'm going to not let it flip the other way.
Or like, is one leading, the other following?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of things you can figure out beforehand if you really want to, or just see what they're going to do.
But I don't think I would drop clues for it. I would let the players come up, figure out what their solution is going to be. You just got to be open-minded enough and maybe a little flexible.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to break the assumptions of the world or of the game mechanics, but if they come up with an idea that within those constraints looks like it would work, let it work.
It's hard though, because I'm gonna bring up Wild Towns again because that game's gone crazy, way different than I imagined when I started that game. I was like, okay, superpowers in the Wild West, super cool. It's all magic, like everybody's magic. We're dealing with angels and leprechauns and witches, and there's not really superpowers. Everybody's just fucking magic.
Right.
So it's a very different game than like what I proposed.
You made a magical pony game?
Shut up. Yes, I did.
That's so unlike you.
I know. Well, I wasn't even the one deciding that. They put it on brand for me. It's fine. But like along the way, there's been a lot of improv on my part because they come up with crazy shit. So as that's happening, I'm like, oh, I'll come up with this, and this is the connection between this other thing that we did last week. And a lot of the time, you're like, oh, it'll be amazing, and they like never. They never get there. Sure. And the same thing with.
But if they did, it's like, oh, look how it all dovetailed together, right? That's the fun thing about seat of the pants GMing. Is when you figure like these. How are these things? Oh, it could go together like this.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly have that revelation. Yeah.
Right. And solving those problems, like same thing when you come up with problems, like you start having connections, and this will be related to this, and all these other things, and sometimes you just kind of have to. Like kill your babies, that's the term that we use. Yeah, it's like, all right, I will always know how cool that would have been, and maybe someday when I'm drunk I will tell them what they missed out on,
right,
or something like that. But like,
or there might be a chance for it later.
Yeah, or save it. But like, they will enjoy the game so much more if like that feeling you have of, oh my gosh, this is genius. They will enjoy the game so much more if they are the ones having that feeling.
Exactly. Yep. There you go. Harumph.
So that like they come up with the cool thing that they think is amazing, rather than like being like told, oh, this is what you should have done, or this is what you should do.
Right.
So let them have the cool light bulb moment.
This is one of the reasons why I think everybody should just read. You don't have to play it or run it, but read Apocalypse World First Edition, because it very much is a treatise on GMing. And one of the things is, your job is not to specifically even come up with problems and or solutions. It is your job to make the characters' lives not boring.
Right.
That's your job. That's what these things are doing, Your job is to make the world seem real, not to have discrete problems for everything. My game that I'm running right now is the most on-track game I think I've ever run in my entire life. But we've also gotten to the point where I literally have nothing to throw at them except for the fact that everything's bonkers.
Right.
So I make their lives not boring, but I don't know who they're going to decide to run up against or choose to like take the side of or whatever. All I need to do is, do those things. It's my job to make sure that the characters can do what they do, not deny them bonuses. You know, so if this character wants to do something crazy with their double brain, abso-fucking-lutely go for it.
That's why they got it.
That's why they have 2 brains.
Yes.
That's what's her name? Betsy 2 Brains? On account of her 2 brains?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's what you should focus on, is make your characters' lives not boring and make the world seem real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, all the stuff that's happening in the background keeps happening in the background until the PCs kill it. I mean, take care of it.
Burn it.
Like, burn it. And or fuck it.
Yeah. Both.
Both,
Okay,
everything.
Okay, no los dos.
Yeah, one should happen before the other.
Which one? Your players get to decide. But yeah, for sure. I mean, we all have that because all GMs, most GMs also love to play. So like it's hard to pull yourself away from, oh, that would be so neat. Like,
ooh, what would I do?
Yeah, what would I do? Like you're always going to have that, and just take a step back and yeah. I'm sorry, I've been corrected.
Maybe that's what's different about me. I don't like playing as much as I like GMing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's different about you.
I think I like GMing more than I like playing.
Yeah.
It's fucking blast.
I like both. I like playing, but I really like GMing too. I don't know.
I don't dislike playing.
Yeah.
But GMing is just fucking fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, every time I've played a game, almost every time I've played a game, I've had fun.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I probably can count on 2 hands the number of times I've played. I mean, it's still not very often.
Right.
Even since we've done the podcast, it's
Well, I keep offering you, and you're like, no, I want to run.
right.
So you have the
I like running.
opportunity. But I've also been corrected. It's kill your darlings, not babies.
What?
Kill
No,
your dog.
no, I've only ever heard murder your babies.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, maybe since I'm a mandated reporter, I shouldn't use kill your darlings and not kill the babies.
No, kill your babies, not kill the
Yeah,
babies.
that's true.
These are different things.
These are 2 different things.
Don't kick the baby.
Don't kick the baby. Yes.
Oh, there's a movie called Kill Your Darlings with Daniel
sure.
Radcliffe from 2013.
That's helpful. Thanks, Stu. You should play
William
more, though.
Faulkner.
People like watching you play. You're a really good player. You should play more often, though.
Sometimes, if I come up with a good character concept, yes.
Oh my god!
But I don't always come up with a good
That
character
demigods one shot I ran.
What, the
Jeez.
Sui? That's what I said. Just
Oh,
shout
right.
Sui a lot, and you're
Yeah.
good.
And you're good.
Ride
Have
a
a
pig.
giant pig.
Delmont the pig. Yeah.
Oh god, that was so good.
William Faulkner, who said, "In writing, you must kill all your darlings."
Okay.
I-
Poutine. Yes.
did you just say poutine?
Yeah.
Like,
Because one of the characters he played was
Oh.
obsessed with poutine.
Oh.
The Riffs character, or Savage Worlds Riffs character.
I thought you were talking about Faulkner, and I was really confused.
No, the Glitter Boy,
What was his
Oh.
name?
Jacques or something.
Kevin-
That wasn't
Quebecois?
Jacques.
Jacques the monkey.
No.
Lambert d'Illinois.
Lambert d'Illinois.
From
He was
Quebec?
Lambert. Oh man, he
Quebecois.
was very killy. Okay.
We are going to have poutine tonight. Would you like to come and join us?
Yes.
It is very good.
That's legit. It's through that game I discovered the glory of poutine.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never had it. I didn't. It was amazing.
It's much better fresh. Like right there.
Okay, well,
Because we
it's
had
not bad.
poutine like driven. It was like
Yeah.
driven like 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah.
Not as good as actual
Fresh.
right there
Okay.
poutine.
Well, it was still not
You've
bad.
never had poutine?
I had poutine, but I had it in like L.A., so I didn't really have poutine.
Well, I've never had. I don't even know if it was. I've been to Canada once, and I never even heard the term.
Yeah.
It was Alberta. Maybe it's not in Alberta. I don't know.
What I had didn't squeak and was just kind of like melted cheese on like some bullshit on fries.
Yeah.
It's gravy
Yeah.
and with cheese curds on French fries.
Yeah, see, whatever it is that I had was just fucking cheese.
Yes,
I mean,
it
they
was.
said it was cheese curds, but there was
Oh.
none of that squeaking stuff, and was not. It sounds like it's very firm texture, and these things weren't.
It was just cheese.
It was just kind of like hunks of cheese.
Because I
with
actually,
gravy.
the first time I made it, I went down over here where there's a farmer's market, and they actually had cheese curds.
Oh wow!
So I bought a little packet of cheese curds, and I made it for the
Nice.
kids and myself.
Kind of want to do like, what's the Indian cheese that has the
paneer?
Paneer,
Yeah,
yeah.
like paneer, like masala on fries, because it's kind of like.
Oh, that's very similar, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a real firm and not super. Doesn't get melty.
Yeah.
I wonder if that might actually be cheese curd. Like I don't know how it's
I don't
made.
think so. It's made like cottage cheese.
Oh, okay.
And we are totally not talking about role-playing games anymore.
See,
That's okay. We are allowed to talk about cheese all we want. It is
I
quality.
tried to make it a few times. And I
poutine is
succeeded.
more Quebec, they say.
Yeah, and yes, it went 4 or 5 Los Angeles miles, so it was like 4 hours old. Yes. No, it wasn't. It was like 10 minutes old.
No, it was Pasadena miles. The
Yeah.
Pasadena miles aren't as long as Los Angeles
Los Angeles
miles.
miles. All right. All right. Last
It
thing.
depends on if you're coming up the 110.
Well, yeah.
God.
I was stuck on the 110 for like an hour and 50
yeah.
minutes.
I love
It's like 2 miles.
They built a freeway that's super windy because they were afraid if people got on this road for too long, they'd fall asleep.
Right. Oh, and also, like, if they went too fast, they'd just die. So we're going to make sure they die.
Right.
Now that
They
cars
go too
go
fast.
really fast.
And that's the freeway with on-ramps that are 10 feet long.
Yeah.
So you get to go from 0 to 60
as fast
in
as
a
your car.
tenth of a second,
Yeah.
or else you risk getting in an accident.
Yeah.
And then get pulled over by Pasadena police because it's a 55 limit.
Right.
All right. Next email.
Stupid idea that won't leave him alone from Eric in Nudge.
Oh, this is perfect for me.
Yeah.
Hello, Happy Jacks crew. I hope you're doing well and the dice are rolling in your favor. It's Eric from New Jersey yet again. But this
Yay.
time, I have something a little different to talk about.
Ah.
And I'm hoping your audience can help me. Actor Joe
Magliano.
Manganiello.
Magliano.
Manganiello.
You've left out a lot of letters.
No.
Say it again.
Now I can't say it because you guys have been saying it wrong 8 times.
Burn.
Mr. Joe, super fucking hot. You can just call him that.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
I don't know who
He's
that
an
is.
actor.
In what?
He was in True Blood. He played the really hot werewolf guy. He's just really hot. I don't know. Google him without his shirt. It's the best.
I'm just putting in his name.
He's like very tall.
Okay, there's a picture of a guy, and I don't recognize him,
very
and I
hunky.
watch True Blood.
There's no way. Yeah, here's the werewolf that Suki fell in love with for like 8 seasons. The really big guy.
I don't think it was on for 8 seasons. I think it was on for 6.
Well,
Maybe
most
I'm wrong.
of them. No, but he showed up in. I think. Yeah.
I don't
You did
recognize
not
him.
watch the same True Blood I did. I'm sorry.
I did.
Nope.
I did.
I swear he's in there.
It depends on how you watch it.
Yeah.
Right.
She just fast forwards through everything where Joe Manganiello is not in it. So, I mean, you can watch 8
No.
seasons in like, an
No,
afternoon.
there's other hot monsters in that show.
Oh,
So
well then how do you tell them apart?
because one's super tall and kind of skinny and blonde.
Well, there's also
and he's a vampire.
There's also what's her name, which
And
for
then-
me is a little hard to look around her. The blonde, whatever her name is.
Suki Stackhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Joe, who's like the opposite and dark and like this wide with like muscles everywhere. Sorry, I'm done.
Oh, okay, wait.
The muscle guy.
Trailer park guy.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Technically,
he doesn't look
everybody
anything
has
like that.
muscles everywhere.
It's a bell curve, though. Like, yes, you are accurate, but. Sorry, I'm done. Anyway,
He
continue.
doesn't look anything like that guy, though. He's gotten older.
No, it's because you're looking at face shots. Go look at find shirtless ones. You'll recognize him. All right, keep
Okay,
reading.
so Muscles for Days
Yes.
visited UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh,
Yes.
where he sits on the board of directors earlier this year. All of them at once. He DM'd kids who were there through a game of Dungeons & Dragons. When asked why, he said the following. At the heart of this game, it's about being able to step out of reality for a little while. It's an escapism for all of us are doing or listening to this podcast enjoy. But imagine a sick kid being able to be a mighty barbarian, if only for a little while. Being a GM for the past few decades, this spoke volumes for me. Here's a way to help people, children specifically, to be able to better deal with illness. Mm-hmm. Okay, so all I have to do is find an organization who could vet people to GM and send them out to do something like Muscles for Days did. After looking into several organizations, I don't think such an organization exists. People donate stuff or provide gaming to people in very specific areas, but no organization tries to get GMs. No organization sends people out capable of providing the escapisms that would be useful to sick kids. I've agonized over this for a few months now. People would think I was crazy if I just called the children's hospital and said, hey, let me play D&D with kids.
Oh, there's going to be all kinds of red lights that are going to go off if you try to do something like that. I mean, that's just the unfortunate nature of our world.
Yeah, you are a strange person who wants to be in a room with some children for a while. No.
Oh, yeah.
You're not... Besides, there should be an organization that does such a thing so that it is not limited to one area, but exposes children to our wonderful hobby everywhere. I ache over this because I am not the person to organize such a thing. I feel weak and helpless when I think about this because this is something as a community we should be doing. We have the power to help people. A guy from Magic Mike showed us that for Pete's sake. I have no idea what that is either.
Magic Mike is a movie about hot male strippers,
Okay.
which Joe was also in.
Oh, okay. All right.
Continue. How can you not see Magic Mike? It's the best. It's really good.
I was in the desert for like 5 years.
Well, I wasn't asking you. I was asking.
It's
funny.
I barely see
funny
anything.
Movie.
Stu has 8 hobbies.
I do.
I have more hobbies than Stu does, and I've seen
Oh,
it.
I don't know.
And he runs a bunch of bands and wrangles people.
She wrangles Happy Jacks. I wrangle boggarts, and that's enough for me.
All right. Anyway, continuing.
Sorry, I had to hook with
Yeah,
you there.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I got.
I'm sorry.
Tubby is like, he wrangles people. Wink. He's like, ah. All right, continue.
My temperament is much more suited to wrangling boggards than it is regular people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be as nice and polite.
Yeah, I know. That was a laugh of agreement. That was not me disagreeing in any way.
Fortunately, nobody has to be nice and polite to me. Anyway, I suppressed it for a few months, but then I just bought Savage Worlds Adventures
Yay.
Edition.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, there are liner notes from 2 players and a GM about different aspects of the game. The book says there's a picture of them at the end. That picture is 2 kids in what looks like a hospital being GM'd by a third person. After seeing that, I started to ache again, thinking of lost opportunities to help people. Perhaps my job is to be the John the Baptist of the story, a voice crying out in the wilderness, looking for some sort of RPG Jesus to answer my call. I don't know how to do this, but I think it should be done, and I will follow anyone who can figure it out. I'm active on the forums, and would love to talk about it more if there's anyone who thinks this would be good and can come up with a plan. To anyone reading or listening to this email, please help me figure it out. My apologies, this went on longer than expected. Take care of yourself, stay diverse and wonderful, have a drink. Sincerely, Eric from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So, as someone who should never be in charge of anything, nor be in charge of paperwork, I created a 501c3.
Yeah.
And, became an official museum and bought 30 acres from the state.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever dealt with doing anything with the state, it's a fucking nightmare.
That's a non-profit for those of you who might be in other countries and don't know what a 501c3 is. Yeah.
It's a arts nonprofit. So you can do this. You really can. I have fucking ADHD as hell. And it's really hard when you have stuff holding you back. I don't know what your specific situation is. Mm-hmm. But the thing that doesn't work is looking for someone else to do it. I do know that. Yeah. Other people have their own ideas usually and are doing them. Very few people are going online saying, "Will somebody give me some ideas?" I'm out.
There's organizations similar to this. There's isn't there an RPG bus?
I don't know.
Where they go around to schools or something to teach kids how to. Let me look.
That'd be cool. I mean, there are a lot of people who run after school programs and things like that for this. There are. I've been involved in a couple cosplay groups that go to children's hospitals dressed as characters, and it's difficult to do. It helps. You definitely, like Tappy said, have to have some sort of formal organization or something set up. It helps if you start not in hospitals, but if you want to run games for an after school program or something. That's a good start. So you can start having, hey, the kids over at Williams Elementary can tell you that I've been running games for their kids. Everything. Get yourself fingerprinted if you're in the United States. I don't know. There's probably a similar thing. It's called LiveScan. It costs like $60. It proves that you don't have a criminal history, so that's definitely a good first step too.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, like the Boy Scouts of America, if you join as an adult volunteer, you have to take the youth protection training, and they run a background check on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like you have to pay like $35 or $55 or something like that for them to actually run the background check.
Yeah.
And you would have to have stuff like you'd have to have that kind of stuff for anyone doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what might be easier, and I think is a group that is much less well served than sick kids. While doing things for sick kids is great, adults with chronic illnesses, like I know a bunch of people who they can get out of bed 15 minutes a day,
Right.
and are in a ton of pain.
Yeah.
But they can sit and play a video game. They can sit and be online and role play.
Right.
And a lot of them like MMOs because they can be social with people. Otherwise, they're literally trapped in their own bodies. And it sounds
I
like
think that's probably
what
why
you're
some
looking for.
things like Second Life are still popular.
Yeah.
They're still out there, and there's still a lot of users for them.
And so if you want a population that is easier to serve, because they're adults, and one that is very underserved for this sort of situation, I mean, it sounds like you're really passionate about sick kids, and that's super awesome. Go for that. But adults with chronic illnesses, who's going to live as long as everybody else, they just can't get out of bed and they're in horrible pain.
Right.
Those people really could use some escapism, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I had a sister with cerebral palsy, and she was in an adult home, and little kids with cerebral palsy. Everyone, like the holidays, everyone wants to come and do things for them, but the adults, no one does anything for them. I mean, and I was in a caroling group, and I had suggested, why don't we go down to my sister's place and we can go and sing Christmas carols for them, and we did, and they never get anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is once they become adults, there's not people falling over each other to help them.
Yeah, and they need that escapism just as much as the kids do.
Now, I looked it up, rpgbus.com. Now, these people, they might even have some kind of program that already exists like this, because it says RPG Bus, accessible, inclusive, friendly, comfortable, mobile music and gaming facility for recreation, therapy, entertainment, or educational programs.
Cool.
And it looks like they have a bus and they have a trailer.
Okay.
And they basically go around, and it is basically a mobile gaming room. And it looks like they go to schools and stuff like that. So even if that's outside of what their wheelhouse is, they could certainly point you in the kind of directions that you would want to go.
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely. And Joe actually is really big in the DnD community, and he's got like a whole line of clothing and stuff based on D&D and
Are they
gaming,
this
stuff
wide?
like that.
And when I put this wide, and my hands are like, I don't know, like 4 feet wide?
Yeah, about 4.5.
When he wears them, yes.
He doesn't wear his own product.
He does, but that's okay. But anyway,
Not
so
in
it's
my
kind of
defense.
cool. Huh?
He just doesn't wear shirts. He's allergic to them.
I'm okay with that. Cool.
He's allergic to material.
These are the shirts that I have hanging around me as I go shirtless. All right.
All right, that's it. Thank you very much, Eric from New Jersey,
Yeah, that's
for the email.
Yeah, super.
Hey, and thank you to EasyRollerDice.com.
Yes.
EasyRollerDice.com/Giants if you want to join their Kickstarter to get the big, huge, noggin-crushing dice.
Yeah.
And you totally should.
Yeah. They're very cool.
Why do you keep asking me for my password? I don't need the password.
It's too talking.
Oh, and I can't play that. Oh,
No.
that's right.
Play the AP song.
Oh, okay, I'll play the AP song. Which one? The country one?
Yeah.
Armor piercing?
I like this.
I don't have headsets on.
Thank you for joining us for season 24, episode 12 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
And I have no idea what I'm doing.
And we'll see you next week, Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. We got games. There's
We have
Demigods Sunday.
Demigods on Sunday. Changeling is on Monday, and then Tappies.
Oh, the Autumn People.
Yeah, the
Autumn
Autumn
People
People.
on Wednesday.
Where
Front
I have
Pacific.
nothing yet planned, and they're just going to do crazy shit. It's going to be awesome. I don't know what they're going to do.
That's kind of
Excellent.
creepy house.
Thank you very much, and we'll leave you with this song.
Yes.
I've lived 1,000 lives. I piloted 1,000 souls. I killed and fought and died just for a single role.
You know, I really should have played upright bass on this rather than electric bass. You know that? I play upright bass much better than I play electric bass. Anyone listening to that's going to go, wow, that guy can barely play bass. Wait, is this mic on?